When we first started the business, we didn't start by saying, let's build the personal accountability platform for fire industry. We just kind of looked to see what problems were out there. Hi, my name is Couston, co-founder and CEO of Ascent Integrated Tech. Ascent builds sensors that go onto the firefighter's existing equipment as a way to provide insight into that firefighter's location, well-being, and environment back to the fire chief who's outside of the structure monitoring and managing the scene. So we just started talking to first responders and ultimately found ourselves at the Illinois Fire Service Institute in full bunker gear, running into a training tower, and kind of fell in love with the industry.
We set out with a really simple goal. Let's find a problem. Let's find a problem that'll be interesting to solve. Let's find a problem that'll earn us gold to solve. And let's find a problem that'll be enjoyable to solve.
As we spent more and more time at the Illinois Fire Service Institute, we would watch them run practice scenarios, and the fire chief would have this command board, that deployable whiteboard. So he or she would be listening to the radio and marking things on dry erase markers. Like that's just for training, right? That's not how an actual scene would evolve, and ultimately it was. So we said, hey, we got to find a way to make this a better experience. We could build a lot for the fire industry, but what were we going to focus in on? How are we going to take this huge fundamental issue that the firefighters are dealing with and really focus on the main problem? And that's when we recognized the main problem was the location of that firefighter. When we had originally started the program, about maybe 6 to 9 months into starting the business, we applied for the mHUB IoT Accelerator Program, which was the first accelerator program that mHUB had, and were accepted into the program. And we used a lot of mHUB's facilities and programming to kind of springboard the company. Now that we've grown and we went from 3 to 23, we have our own office space now that's really just down the street. We could crawl to mHUB. And I also wanted to make sure that we were placed in an economic development zone. That has allowed us to not only scale the organization, but also to maintain a close relationship with mHUB. I think Chicago is genuinely one of the best places to start a tech venture. When we started the company in Champaign, I knew in order to scale that we had to go up to Chicago. And as a hardware-enabled SaaS business, it made the most sense to scale that with mHUB.
And mHUB forces us to be better because of its focus on HardTech, on solving real problems and difficult to solve problems.
When mHUB really started gaining traction and momentum, it made a community of people that really give a damn about hardware. And mHUB makes it a little bit less hard. More important now than the access to space and equipment is the network. And that's really where mHUB shines, in my opinion. It really has been helpful to get our name out there. The more that we can satisfy the customer, the more that we can make it a great experience to be on the Ascent platform, the more success that we'll find next year.